Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you guys to the Wu-Tang Clan Reject that y'all see on my screen right here that did not make the Killer Bees album and so many other classics. This fool is charged with something that is just beyond heinous. And yes, we're going to talk about him in a disparaging way. Yes, I'm going to talk crazy about him. Yes, because I want you guys to understand that we will not continue to stand by idly and watch things happen to our children without speaking up and saying something. We're going to put a stop to this. Columbia Police Department is currently searching for that fool that y'all see on my screen after he allegedly pulled a firearm on his own family, and this idiot shot his 8-month-old child. He shot his 8-month-old child. I'm sure y'all want to know what his name is. His name is Kobe Eugene Lloyd, who is 21 years old. And let me see if I can show you guys how his name is spelled. Kobia. I don't care if it's Cobia, Kobe, what the hell ever. I don't really care to pronounce criminals' names correctly. Kobe Eugene Lloyd Jr. It's just easier for me to say. He is 21 years old, and he is wanted for 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder, reckless endangerment, and aggravated child endangerment following an armed confrontation that occurred on Saturday. And I'm going to tell you guys, they didn't give very much details, but these details might shock y'all to the core. So brace yourselves, okay? This shooting took place during an altercation that occurred at approximately 3:30 p.m. in the parking lot of Hallmark Apartments on 400 Hallmark Drive in Columbia. The police department indicates a preliminary investigation has determined that Lloyd, that guy, was involved in the altercation with an unidentified female who was 22 years old. Why they give us the age, tell us it's a female, and don't tell us who it is beyond me. But it's described by police as the mother of his children, the baby mama that is going to remain unnamed, and we can't even get the child's name. It's just weird how they do that. Nonetheless, police said during the altercation, Lloyd brandished a weapon and fired 1 round from a handgun into the vehicle occupied by the female and their 3 children. 3 children ages 2, 1, and 8 months old. A 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and an 8-month-old. Back-to-back pregnancies with a damn fool, a thug. He is a thug, and I want y'all to remember that thug is not a color, thug is an action. Can y'all write that in the chat? That's going to be another one of our new hashtags. Thug is not a color, it is an action. Yes? Okay. The child was struck in the head. The 8-month-old baby was struck in the head. They were engaged in a verbal altercation, and she attempted to leave in the vehicle with the kids. Lloyd climbed on top of the vehicle and fired a round through the roof of the vehicle, according to Lieutenant Jeremy Haywood. He told the news. The child was transported to Maury Regional Medical Center by the mother and then flown to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital in Nashville with a Life Flight helicopter. Police said that Lloyd also fled the scene, so he ran like a bitch after the shot was fired. As she, the mother, left the scene, she was unaware that the child had actually been hit, because I'm sure that was probably real traumatizing. We got a call once she realized the child had been struck as she was on the way to the hospital. The child is currently in critical but stable condition. Let me repeat that. The child is currently in critical but stable condition. Please, if y'all heard what I just said, put a prayer hands up in the chat, because that is a blessing from the man above, and I hope that this child pulls through. because this is so messed up. The department communicates that detectives are aggressively following up on any leads which may find Lloyd being located and taken into custody. But let me tell y'all a little something for those who may not know. This ain't DJ's Just Jay first time around the block, and there's one thing that I know. With this dude being a thug, and there's a lot of women out there, y'all know hood hoes love hood dick. That's one of my hashtags. Hood hoes love hood dick. And there's a good chance that this hood fool is laying up under some hood hoe or his mama, which could potentially be a hood hoe also, for raising a hood thug. Yes, not always the case, but in this case, I'm accurate about that, okay? Let's just get that out the way. All right? Now, for that woman that probably got this fool laying up in the bed right now, knowing that this fool almost just murdered his own kid, I'm going to tell y'all, this don't apply to any women, but it only applies to the women that this applies to. These particular women are horrible individuals that will harbor a criminal and a fugitive of the law, especially when they hurt children, because children can't speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves. And I think it makes it even worse because women give birth. Women should understand the value of life. And if you understand the value of life, then you should also understand how imperative it is that somebody that looks like this individual would value life so little that he will put all three of his children's life in danger the way that he did just because him and baby mama sitting there having a damn argument. Something that they apparently have been doing for years. Couldn't work it out this time, and this fool decided to pull out a gun and start shooting. That don't sit right with me. That this man is sitting up underneath some woman, and there's a lot of ladies out there that know ladies that would do stuff like that. Y'all know y'all dude is out there selling drugs, out there on the block, out there busting guns and all of this kind of crazy stuff. And y'all just let these dudes just live up in y'all house and y'all don't say nothing? You know what that means to me? Those individual people don't want things to get better, and things suck in the hood and in these bad areas, in these situations, because those individuals refuse to speak out and say something, because that means that they're horrible individuals themselves. And if you ask me, whoever house that they find him at, those people should face at least half of what he's facing. Let me say that again, because I know I just threw a fastball at you. I'm going to say it again. We got to start having more accountability in America. Let me represent this in a slower fashion. For anybody who harbors a criminal, especially those who hurt children, murder children, abuse children, kidnap children, and you are caught harboring that individual, hiding that individual, protecting for that individual, advocating for that individual, if he's facing 99 years in jail, then guess what you should be facing? 49 years in jail. If he's facing life in prison, you should get a half of whatever that is. If he faces 10 years in prison, give you 5 just for dealing with that person. And I think you can't ask people and you can't beg people. Y'all understand? Shout out to my ladies. I see y'all out there. I see people are agreeing with me. Shout out to my fellas, my responsible brothers in the chat. Y'all hear me? We have to start holding people accountable. The only way that they're going to be held accountable is if you force them. Because I don't think that they're going to do it with us asking, with us begging, right? I don't know if y'all remember. I remember listening to this Tupac interview, and he was talking about how the thug mentality starts when you see all of these people in a room and they're throwing food around, these rich people, and you knock on the door and you're like, "We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in." I don't know why I remember this. But then he said, you continue to see them keep throwing food around these rich people. Then you start to get a little more agitated in your tone before you kick in the door and start blasting at people and just taking the food. I use that analogy Not to qualify the thug life and thug mentality, I actually use it in a different way. And here's the way I'm going to relate that. These individuals, these particular women, it's not all, it's just a handful of them who harbor these criminals, these thugs, these drug dealers, the ones who are still sleeping with them. I think sleeping with a thug should be a crime. How about that? Those individuals aren't going to change. And I think that the only way that they're going to change and the only way that you're going to discourage other women from helping dudes like this is to arrest them, kick in their dough, and put them in jail and throw the book at them. Throw a bunch of years at them for cooperating. That's the only way they're going to learn, is watch other people that are going through it. They say right now, this dude is considered to be armed and dangerous. They say they are still looking for him and seeking assistance from anybody that can help lead to his apprehension. Kobe Eugene Lloyd Jr. This is a tragic event, and we are aggressively following up with any leads in the community. He is considered to be armed and dangerous, and he advises residents not to approach the subject, but instead contact the department immediately if you see him. We do not want you to confront him. Don't put your life in jeopardy. Don't put yourself in legal jeopardy. Just call the police and let them do what they do. Those with information are encouraged to call the Criminal Investigation Division of the Columbia Police Department, 931-560-1670. Or you guys just go to ColumbiaDailyHerald.com. Y'all can get the rest of those information and those numbers on there. But let me close out by saying this. I want to put a prayer hands up in the chat, because that's at least a little bit of positive information that this child might pull through. Let me address the biological mother to that kid and the other kids. Stop dating thugs. Value yourselves. I think women have a lot of value to them. But just like with anything, you have to prove yourself. You don't just come to a job and be like, I deserve this high-paying job. Guess what you have to do? You have to prove that you are worthy to be hired for that position and be qualified. So we have to start putting ourselves in a position to be a lot more advantageous for our children. You date thugs, they create thugs, and the process repeats itself, and it constantly degrades until we just get further and further along, and then we just ruin what we consider to be our community. Okay, let's find this fool. Let's get him in. Let's get him in jail. Let's get him charged. Let's get him up out of here. He's done. All right. I'm DJ Just Jay. Put a prayer hands up in the chat for that baby, and let's hope that that baby pulls through. Okay. From my heart to yours. Thank you guys for listening to this story.